Hey guys, welcome to the College Football Podcast, where today we are going to be talking about bowl games that have happened over the past few weeks that I haven't been really concerned or watching, but today it kind of just feels right to talk about them for a little bit. I just talked about the Georgia Notre Dame game. If you didn't see it, there's a YouTube short about it. This one is all going to be about bowl games that have happened that are, I wouldn't say they're the games that I just shoved to the side, but it's kind of like these games, the bowl games just aren't relevant anymore. It's not that I don't like bowl games. I like them. It's just they're not relevant anymore. So why look at a game like Alabama Michigan if nobody's going to watch it? But it seems like people are still in the bowl games for some reason. And I do like that. I do like that we still like bowl games. We just need to. I just want to know what games that people want to watch and hear about compared to others. This was one of them, Michigan, Alabama. This game was a very, very unexpected game. Of course, Michigan comes off the Ohio State win, and Alabama's coming off their win against Auburn and not making the conference championship, not making the college football playoffs. So they're kind of like, we got to win this to show that we should have been in the playoffs. And Michigan's coming in trying to build on next season for their purposes. And this kind of showed what's been happening to Alabama all year. They got beat on the offensive line. They got sacked a lot. Jalen Milroe was fumbling the ball all game. They had 3 turnovers in the first, I believe it, I am correct. They had 3 turnovers They had 3 turnovers in the first quarter. Michigan scores 16. There's only 13 points scored after that. So it didn't really, or 16. Yep, there's 16. 3 from Michigan, 13 from Alabama. 19-13 is your final score. Michigan wins. Michigan did the same thing that Notre Dame did. They did not throw the ball at all. Alabama didn't really throw the ball at all either. It was kind of just a run game to see who had the better offensive line. It was Michigan by, I was going to say by a lot, but it wasn't that much. It was a pretty small advantage. Michigan's offensive line wasn't working as well as Alabama's. It was a little better, but it wasn't great. Alabama, I just felt like Milroe was just running around the entire game. Like they didn't have a choice he didn't have a choice in the backfield to just sit there and throw. He literally had a second and a half. Basically, he hiked the ball, looked at his offensive line, or maybe his first read at most, and then had to run. So Alabama really had a really bad game today. As they played a very good Michigan team who was very good on defense. They held Ohio State to 10. They're holding Alabama to 13. So Michigan's defense down the stretch was good. Beginning of the season was a train wreck and really, really bad. But I think a big thing for Alabama is that they're going to have quarterback competition. They both look like very, very good quarterbacks in Keelan Russell and the other guy that they got from, Keelan Russell and Austin Mack, the guy that they got from last year from Washington that Kalen DeBoer recruited all of last year. So, things that I'm looking at, Austin Mack and Keelan Russell, they've got the quarterback battle. They've got 5 offensive line coming in, 1 transfer. So they have 6 guys coming in next year for the Alabama team, which is great news. They have an offensive line now. Alabama does lose 20 players. At the current moment, Alabama has 20 players in the transfer portal. So this is going to be very, very interesting to see how they do without those 20 players. I don't know. We will have to see what happens with that. Michigan, what do they have? Their quarterback Davis Mills or Davis something. Not good. Not good at all. They have Bryce Underwood, the best player of 2025. He's going to be the quarterback. Unless he absolutely flops, he's probably going to be the starting quarterback come next fall. Other guys to look at, Andrew Balboa, a really good offensive lineman, number 2 offensive lineman in the country from this 2025 class. Shamari Earls, the number 9 corner. And then you've got Andrew Marsh, the 13th wide receiver in the country. Those 3 guys I also could see starting in the fall. I could see them making a big impact freshmen around this Michigan team that could really elevate the team. With just these 4 guys, I think the team will be a lot better than where they were this year. Some other things, I think Michigan's going to be very trashed again because they have drafts, a lot of draft players. A lot of players going to the draft. You've got a bunch of defensive players that are very good that are going to the draft. So they've boosted the offense. They did get that corner, but they really needed to boost defense. And from what I'm seeing here, I could even just look right now. I mean, yes, they got a defensive lineman, 2 safeties, linebacker, safety, D-line, edge, D-line. Okay, so they did. Towards the bottom half of their list, they got a bunch of good defensive players, but then they got in the transfer portal, they got Justice Haynes, very good running back from Alabama. He's going to be great. You got Mikey King from Fresno State. He might even be in the quarterback battle with Bryce. So who knows? Who knows about that? Trey Bowles, you got a linebacker from Georgia. You already know that he's going to be good. Damon Payne, I know he's a good defensive lineman from Alabama. Like Michigan in the transfer portal that now got all these good guys. Tevis Metcalf, a safety from Arkansas. SEC players going to Michigan is huge. And then you got Donovan. I guess it's Donovan. Yeah, Donovan McCulley from Indiana. I don't know how he's gonna do as a wide receiver. I haven't heard of this guy, so we'll have to see what happens. But Michigan, transfer portal wise, they're doing good. Recruiting, they're doing good. I think Michigan's gonna do very well after this season, going into the spring and then to the fall. They did have I had some questions, but I answered those questions, as you can tell. So now we're going to the Ole Miss and Duke game. There's only 2 games we're going to be talking about. This was a blowout, 45-20. I mean, what did we expect? When you've got a quarterback who's going to the draft named Jackson Dart, who has thrown everywhere, all over teams, all season. And then they're playing a Duke team who went 8-0, and then went 1-3 in their last 4 games, all against superior competition. And you put the most high-powered offense against them, they're going to get trashed pretty easily. So Duke obviously just got blown out of the water. Ole Miss, they did what they've been doing all year against these kind of teams. They just absolutely drum them and send them a check and get out of there. So I mean, Ole Miss did what they did. They did what they had to do, basically. But this is gonna be this is the what if going into the offseason. Personally, from the draft picks that they have going out, compared to the recruiting class that they have, this was the year for Ole Miss. I don't see Ole Miss going to the playoffs next year. I just don't. It's not a thing, that I'm looking at and saying, oh, yes, of course, Ole Miss is going to be in contention again to go into the playoffs. It's not that simple here. SEC, we've got Ole Miss at the 9th best recruiting class in the SEC. They have 1 5-star, and that's it. They got a bunch of 4 stars and a bunch of 3 stars. Of course, this team is like, the transfer portal is theirs and theirs alone. They don't let anybody take their guys. This team is gonna take a lot of players from a lot of schools, because that's just what Ole Miss does. They are the transfer portal place to go. But I still don't see it. I can't see Ole Miss going to the playoffs again. They're just not there. They're not going to have the quarterback that they need. They didn't even get a quarterback in this offseason. I don't even know who their quarterback is right now. So there's not really a lot to... They don't have a quarterback. Running backs... Maybe Ulysses is coming back. I don't remember if he is. I'll have to look at that. But this team has a lot of holes going into next year that I don't know if these guys can fill. I think Jackson Dart is a once-in-a-lifetime generational quarterback for this Ole Miss team. He's gone. That's it. It's kind of over for Ole Miss, at least for next year, unless something in the transfer portal happens. They get some generational quarterback, kind of like what Miami had, but then Ole Miss can actually put a defense to it. So I just think Ole Miss kind of lost their shot this year. I think if they get another big recruiting class next year, the class of 2026, which I bet they're already trying to recruit right now, they have one commit from a 3-star, so they're not far behind. I think they will definitely need a lot of players next year, big-time players that Lane Kiffin can recruit and get into his system, work them into the system, and I think Ole Miss could definitely be a lot better in 2026, 2027, but just not next year. That's just my thoughts. Thank you guys for watching the College Football Podcast. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.